alone with them under loveless sheets, the Cupid's bows pulled tight, ready to fire, shot with love, fired with hate, delivered with anger. Yet, I did it anyway. There is power in words and voice. Love can impale, abuse can impale, they strike from lips. But no, that's not quite the beginning of it all. There are many beginnings. It all depends on at what point we start to define ourselves. I wrote that many years ago, and it's something I come back to repeatedly. We think of life, memory, and narrative as something linear. We are born, we grow, love, and lose, and we die. There's a clear beginning and a clear end, but I've come to learn that's not the full story. Trust me, this isn't the beginning, nor is it the end. Once upon a time, I believed the abuse I went through was purely an isolated anomaly, an aberration in my story. It happened out of circumstance without any other influence or reason. Beginning, middle, end. A glitch to forget and move on. Yet, it ended up being the catalyst for me to examine my life and the influences in it that led me to those events. My exploration revealed that it wasn't the beginning or the ending. It was all part of a bigger chain of events and circumstances that I didn't know about until recently, but have shaped so many of my relationships, including the relationship with myself. Only with time can you peel back the layers. Once there is nothing left to cover it, you see it for what it was. Experiencing abuse so often isn't an isolated event with a clear beginning and end. It can be longitudinal and cumulative across a lifetime. There are years of other people, lovers, trauma and abuse from childhood and early adulthood, and from before we were born, that we weave together to lead us to that point. It's all part of the same and former existence. Nothing is destroyed, it simply changes. I've tried to follow the stepping stones back across time, space, memory, and people. To discover who we will be in the future is to first recognize who we have been in the past, and to understand how this affects us in the present. One cannot exist without the others. After a good friend told me about a form of emotional attachment called trauma bonding, it allowed me to examine my life with a new lens. It gave me a new language to vocalize and actualize what has happened to me, both in the abuse I survived and the trauma I lived through in the past. That new lexicon stitched itself to my bones, my skin, my tongue. All the echoes of the former lives and bodies I've had to live sewn up together. Frankenstein's new creation. It gave me a chance to live anew. My efforts to understand trauma bonding and abuse, why it happens and how I could break the cycle, awakened forgotten and dormant memories and events. I can now see how they contributed to me ending up experiencing abuse. Coming out the other side of a cycle of abuse was a critical point that forced me to understand my past in the hope of creating a new beginning. It allowed me to understand that the beginning of those relationships started many years before, even before I was alive. I've often wanted to purge my brain of events and people and actions and words, of the abuse I've suffered from men, of the abuse from growing up gay and working class, of the stigma and expectations put on me by society because of my identities. These experiences are written across, on, and in my body. They regenerate even as the skin sheds and grows anew, when my body feels a new one against it, when I am under half-empty sheets thinking of the streets I ran down barefoot as a child, the life I could have had if everything had been different. They wait to unfold and bloom. The memories of the past become the memories of the future. I'd love